Hey, Ag Teacher Thoughts here, coming at you with another video. We're going to talk about petunias today. And this is one of my little volunteer petunias that has sprung up in my yard. This petunia is a volunteer from this year, so it's seed that's set by the petunias that are up in the pot above it. And I know this is because, quite simply, I've not had petunias there before. I can definitely tell, looking at what's there and looking at the location and knowing what's been there before, I know that this is definitely a this year volunteer petunia. So up above it, we do have some other petunias in one of our planters. These are all seed petunias. These are, oh, we got a budworm in here somewhere. These are all ones that I planted from seed. Yep, that is budworm damage, in case you wanted to know. He's in here somewhere. We could look for him, but don't know that I want to do that right now. So anyway, these are petunias that I seeded this year as a part of our greenhouse project with our students. Now, the reason I use a lot of petunia seed in my with my students when it comes to our ground planting is really when people are looking to put things in the ground at their house. They don't need a real special petunia. They just need one that's going to be clump forming. It's going to be, 10 inches to 12 inches in diameter, maybe 6 to 8 inches tall. And so we don't need one of the cutting petunias in there, something that's been propagated by cuttings and is patented. Patented petunias just add more expense. And because they're patented, we can't reproduce them through herbaceous cuttings. We have to purchase them in, and I pay a royalty every time we purchase one of those plants. And depending on the plant, it could be anywhere from 20 some cents to even close to $1. So when you're trying to sell a petunia for $1.99 or $2.50, that's a big chunk of change. So because of that, for our ground planting, we do use petunia seed. Now, one of the problems is we don't know what color they are. It's just generally a mixed seed. Their habit is kind of a mixed bag too. But I'm willing to exchange that for cost, because when I sell all my petunias, they are generally in bloom. I plant them early enough for them to match that. So I was working with one of my flower beds out front of my house. It's been a little hot lately, so I haven't had a chance to get through and do all of the weeding. So please pardon the little weedy mess. But when I got through it, I realized I have a lot more seed petunias that have started in there voluntarily than what I have done previously. So let's do a little update of some of ours that overwintered, and then we'll talk about some of the seeds that have come up. So this is one of our petunias that overwintered. This is the purple one. This was planted last summer, and it was again a seed petunia. Since then, it did survive a winter where we had negative temperatures. -4 was one of the temperatures I saw on the thermometer this winter. And we did have a snow cover over it at that time, so it had about 4 or 5 inches of snow. That did provide a little insulation, but it still doesn't explain why a petunia that's supposed to only be perennial in zones 10 through 12 was able to survive a harsh Idaho winter. This one I am going to propagate. I'm going to do a little video in a little bit, kind of showing that process. So those of you that want to learn about petunias can understand the proper procedures for taking cuttings. But this is one that I would say is more of a trailing style petunia. And we do have some other volunteers that were also perennial. They did come back from last year that were more of an upright petunia. And this would be the upright petunia right here. So this is a little bit more reminiscent of a wild petunia. It's not bad, it's got the same size blossoms. And I actually like the fact that this one is more upright. It's about 2 foot tall, and it spreads about 3 foot from side to side. So if you're looking from down here to all the way over on the other side, you're dealing with about 3 foot. So it's not a bad petunia. I don't mind it, and definitely something that I'm going to collect some seed from, and we're going to look at some of that in a little bit. But let's look at what else is here so we can see where our breeding stock is coming from. These are some petunias that were in one of my planters. Please pardon the budworm damage. I've got to get out here and spray again. I need to pick up some more Bacillus thuringiensis, or BT, to do that spraying. But with these, this is the material that we're working with as far as our donor plants. Looks like they need a little bit more fertilizer too. And there's red, there's purple, there's that pink. And we're getting all sorts of mixed varieties that are coming out. So you can really tell that this has been genetically really a mixed bag. This is an upright white that has been that is coming up as a result of all of this volunteer. And this is another volunteer. So this one was not planted. This was a volunteer this year. And there's a few of them as we look through here. There's another one right there. There's another one right here. And they're all through this bed. As we move around, we'll keep finding them. Oh, there's another one right there. There's another one right here. Another one right there. Right there. So you can see they're all through this bed, and I'm just finding them as I'm going through and weeding. Up next to where the planter is, we do have a bigger selection of volunteers. There's a plant here. There's one here, one here, one here. So there's a lot of volunteer petunias that are coming up. I don't mind it, and definitely these weren't here earlier this year, so this is all stuff that has dropped seed. And we're gonna go through a little bit on collecting seed for petunias. So I know this has been a question in one of the other groups that I'm a part of. So we're just going to answer some general seed collection questions here, and that's again petunias in general. I'm not working on any specific one. Now, when you're looking at petunias, you're going to start with where the blossoms are first coming out. They're a little smaller right now because we're getting some pretty decent heat. The weather is forecast here to be 113 here, and that's at an airport that's up almost 1,000 feet above us. So here it'll probably be 115, 116. So the petunias are kind of struggling as far as keeping some of the blossoms good in this extreme heat. So what we're looking for when we're collecting seed is you're going to start up here and you're going to look down. If it's still got its former blossom on there and it's green, we don't want to mess with it. We just want to leave those alone. What we want to do is we want to get down here where those have turned brown, and it will split open when it is ripe.